My name is Bernardine. I'm up in the Atlanta, Georgia area. We want to thank everyone for coming on. Those of you that are coming on today, there was a reason why we wanted to rebroadcast the Cancer Improving the Outcome broadcast. There were so many people that actually loved it so much that they was wondering, can we have it again? Well, because it's a holiday weekend, you notice it's not going to be that many, but that's okay because it's going to give you an opportunity to actually see a broadcast that seemed to have changed the minds and hearts of a lot of people when it comes to Dr. Kedar Prasad and the products and what they're doing. So you're part of the greatest, in my opinion, one of the greatest companies in the world with one of the greatest products. And you also have a wonderful opportunity of actually being a part of health history by getting the word out here that we have a product that may help when it comes to all types of illness. But today, we're going to be concentrating on cancer, having a better outcome, and also chemotherapy is involved. A lot of people are taking chemotherapy and they don't have a good outcome. Well, today, let's give Jonathan Jones our attention as he kind of sets up going right into cancer or chemotherapy, improving the outcome. Jonathan, come on and talk to us a little bit.
Good evening, and welcome everybody. Glad you're all able to make it. We want to start right on time. And just to let you know, as we announced, this is going to be a rebroadcast of the discussion that we had this past Sunday on cancer, improving the outcome. So I'm going to be pausing it periodically to give a little bit of a commentary and some explanation as to what Dr. Prasad said. We got word that some didn't fully understand certain parts. So we will maybe try to expand on a few of the things that Dr. Prasad said as the program progresses. But we're inviting you to take copious notes, write down questions that are not clear to you or things that you want clarification on, and we'll take as much time as we need to at the end of the program to try to answer every question this evening. We don't want anyone to feel like they did not get everything that they needed to get out of the program, and be in a good position to share what we think is breakthrough information that the world needs to know about. So let's get started. Cancer, improving the outcome. So for the record, folks, today is December the 3rd, 2023. My name is Jonathan Jones. It's my pleasure, my privilege to be your host and moderator for today. We're talking about cancer, improving the outcome. And as Bernard and Jeff Ashby so nicely expressed, we're at a time today where cancer is just ravaging every place and everyone is dealing with it. And it's bone chilling if you ever hear those words. And that's the reason why we're talking about this. I have been doing research for quite some time, but it was mainly because I just was not satisfied with what happened with my mom. It bothered me that the intensive care nurse said to me that she was praying for my mom's immune system to kick in. And I believe that the intensive care unit should have had something to kick her immune system in. So it just was not right. So that's what turned me down this path of becoming a researcher. So today we're focusing our attention on cancer and improving the outcome of conventional cancer treatment. We're very careful. We're very careful with what we say, and the reason for that is because the law only allows us to be able to express things a certain way. And that's why our disclaimer, as you can see, is that the FDA has not evaluated these statements. Testimonials are purely anecdotal. Results are atypical. You're going to be hearing some testimonials and recognize that what happens to one person may or may not happen to you. And by law, we have to say that because Engage is making no claims that MicroDaily would treat or cure any disease state. Dr. Prasad is not making any claims that these products, his formulas, will treat or cure or heal in any way. None of the hosts or co-hosts are making any claims along that line. We're telling you about the food that's missing from our food. And we really want to try to make that clear, folks. But there's hardcore scientific research out there that you and I need to be made aware of. Everyone needs to know about this because a lot of it is simply not being told. You may be saying to yourself, well, why? Why isn't it being told? Well, that's a very good question. That's not the forum. This is not the forum for that. But I can tell you that In fact, they make 4 times the amount of money treating cancer than they do on the cancer itself. It's the side effects of it. It's enormous. So that's the reason why we're having this discussion as we are. So to just kind of reiterate real quickly, the CDC indicates that cancer is the second leading cause of death in the United States. The side effects are extensive. No question about it. It is worth our giving attention to it. One of the first things you notice is nausea and vomiting. That there's no surprise to that happens. And Dr. Prasad is going to give us an explanation as to why it is that folks have this kind of reaction to chemotherapy or radiation. Why is it that there's fatigue, extreme fatigue, when a person is being treated with chemotherapy and radiation? What is it that causes that? And what about hair loss? Why? What leads to that? And why is that such a horrific outcome? And it is a psychological impact on a person when they do lose their hair. And when it comes to being immunocompromised, those who are dealing with chemotherapy, radiation, they are among the first to become immunocompromised. Their immune system takes a harsh nosedive, and Dr. Prasad is going to explain to us exactly why that is the case. And then there's this expression here, this cognitive impairment. This is like the 4th or 5th on the list of the top 10 side effects of chemotherapy and radiation. They call it chemo brain. What is it that causes that? And again, folks, take a snapshot of this screen right here, because everything you see here, when Dr. Prasad put his formula together, his formula was all about improving the outcome. The one thing that they don't mention on this screen is that death is a potential side effect of some of the conventional treatments. And it is. That's just on public record. You can look it up for yourself, that some of the treatments can cause death. Dr. Prasad's formula is all designed to help improve or alter the outcome, all of the side effects. So it is my pleasure, my privilege to introduce to you and to our discussion now, Dr. Kedar Prasad. Dr. Prasad was the professor at the University of Colorado School of Medicine for some 30 years. He was the director of vitamin and cancer research. He was also a former president of the International Society of Cancer and Nutrition, a member of the Royal Society of Medicine, London, UK. He was also part of the Nobel Peace Prize nominating committee for candidates in the category of medicine. Dr. Prasad was the world's first radiation biology PhD, and his products have been awarded some 8 U.S. patents, with more on the way. And so we're excited that we have this gentleman at our fingertips. When it comes to identifying the anti-cancer nature of things, Dr. Prasad is the one given the credit to identifying that vitamin E succinate has anti-cancer properties. He also figured out that butyric acid, the small fatty acid formed by the fermentation of fibers in the gut, is an anti-cancer agent. He's been the author of some 33 books, many of them on the subject of cancer, and he's been published some 250 times in peer-reviewed publication. Now, you just take a screenshot of this list of his books and publications, you'll see that many of them are on the subject of cancer. So we are very fortunate to have Dr. Kedar Prasad available to us to have discussions like this. So, folks, it is my privilege to welcome and introduce to our discussion now Dr. Kedar Prasad. Dr. Prasad, thank you so much for your willingness to join us on discussions like this and to share with us your knowledge.
Thank you, Jonathan. As usual, I always enjoy discussing the topic of your choice. And this is a great interest, like you said. Every member or people know about it. Somebody has a cancer. So cancer is 2 aspects. One is prevention aspect that we are not going to discuss, and one is the treatment aspect that we are going to discuss. And as you know, that I have obtained a patent for the high dose antioxidant in cancer, improving cancer treatment. And so my goal there is to have enough clinical data. Somebody has to help me to do that, financially speaking, and then get a FDA approval. Until you get that one, it cannot be over so that formulation is a little bit different than what I'm going to suggest today, because it will at least, the one which I will be suggesting you, at least it will be high dose antioxidant. And And so, but I want to make a distinction, what I'm going to suggest to you and what my formulation is, which has been approved for the patent. And this is independent of Engage Global. And so because my goal is until FDA approves this, it cannot be reached to wide audience. We can reach some like we are doing now.
Right.
And even one person get benefit, that's good enough for me. But, my goal is to have a FDA approved formulation that I have developed it, and for that it has been approved, patent, and then get the FDA approval. So that will take time. In the meanwhile, people are still having cancer, getting treated, dying, and so on and so forth. So we have to develop some intermediary steps we can do it. And that's what we are going to do. And Engage Global has a product that we can use as a transient phenomena in a meanwhile. And so now the question, like you mentioned it, that this is a real challenge for oncologists, what to do with some of the side effects, Jonathan, that you mentioned. But also another side effect is the late effect of radiation, those who survive cancer 5 years or more. That is also very important. And side effects will include development of a new cancer, occurrence of the primary tumor, reoccurrence of the primary tumor that you were treated with, and also necrosis of the muscle, for example, non-neoplastic diseases like that. So there is a lot of, side effects possibilities. So that not possibility established. And people, at one time, Dr. Bill Robinson, when I was in Denver, he was giving a lecture, and he said that, 100 years from now, when people will think about cancer treatment, they will think that we were stupid to treat cancer with the cancer-causing agents. So this is true. This is true. At that time, I never realized it, but I was saying that that's probably true. But we don't have any other choice. So we have to do as best as we can what we have. And so, but there is no question radiation is cancer-causing, chemotherapy cancer-causing agents. And so, but in any case, we have made some improvement in a 5-year survival rate. And so the question is there are two questions. How to improve the response that we are getting today. One. Second, what to do to reduce the toxicity during treatment. And some of the symptoms that you mentioned, Jonathan, is a classical side of acute. We call it acute side effect, and late side effect is different. But how to reduce for the time being? If you can reduce the acute effect, late effect would not happen.
Right.
Or at least markedly reduced. So the first goal is it. So the question is what we can do it. As you know that in this case, Linus Pauling, who was a 2 Nobel laureate, was the first to suggest that high dose of vitamin C can kill cancer cells and not affecting normal cells. So everybody at that time, I remember very well, he applied for a grant to NIH and NIH turned it down. And everybody criticized that he's senile and so on and so forth. But anyway, I thought that he can't be senile because he has won 2 Nobel Prizes. So I started working on vitamin C, and I found that the cell line that I was working was neuroblastoma, which is a childhood brain cancer.
Right.
And so neuroblast. So I said, okay, I will test vitamin C. So vitamin, sure enough, it killed cancer cell, and we have a normal fibroblast, normal cell in culture and in petri dishes. And so, but it was normal cell was not affected with the same dose that we were killing all neuroblastoma cell. So I said, that's so. Then I further went. I said, let us see what happens if I can combine with the chemotherapeutic agent. Most of them I use them, and also radiation. Indeed, we found that the lower dose of vitamin C, high dose still, will enhance the cell-killing effect of chemotherapy and radiation while protecting the normal tissue at the same time. And I published this work, and I think with the proceeding of National Academy of Sciences, we call it PNAS, which is a highly prestigious journal, and it has to be a sponsor. So I think Linus Pauling is the one who sponsored that paper. And so that was one. Then I wondered that what happens? Is vitamin C is one, how about vitamin E? So at that time, everybody was using vitamin E acetate. So I used vitamin E acetate, and so it has no effect on cancer cell. So I asked my wife, who was doing my technician at that time, she was working with me in my lab. I said, why don't you look what other types of vitamin E is available in the marketplace? And found out 3 or 4 different types. She ordered it. And one of them was vitamin E succinate.
Wow.
I all tested everybody, but vitamin E succinate in melanoma cell, which is very tough to treat, as you know. It becomes like a normal melanocytes and inhibited it. And then again, same thing I did, combined with the radiation, combined with chemotherapy, did the same thing, enhanced the effect of cell-killing effect of chemotherapy and radiation on a cancer cell, but not normal cell. And so that this paper be published, all these things going on. But I never understood it, why it is happening mechanistically. Why?
But that's huge, Dr. Prasad, that you found it, because other scientists have built off that now. Hundreds of papers have been published since then.
Has been confirmed by many other people. So it is not just my work. My work has been confirmed even in animal model, not only in cell culture model, but even in animal model. So that's
incredible.
But what was for a while bothering me was that how can I explain it? It is not happening because antioxidant is a free radical scavenger. So it has nothing to do with free radical, this high dose, because, it is enhancing the effect. And then I said, how about this occurred to my mind, that does cancer cell require some specific nutrient for survival and growth? So I looked in literature. I found out, sure, cancer cell requires excessive amount of glucose because they have inefficient system of producing. That's the picture of Linus Pauling.
Just going to pause here for 1 second, because for some this part wasn't real clear. When Dr. Prasad said that how the mechanism of action, he couldn't quite understand what was the mechanism of action. Why was vitamin E succinate? Why was high dose of antioxidants killing the cancer cells? He says it wasn't because of free radicals. Now, the free radicals are extremely deadly. What they do is they steal electrons from healthy cells. And once they steal an electron from a healthy cell, that cell becomes a little weaker and eventually dies. It just shrivels up like an apple shriveling up. So his confusion was, since vitamin E and vitamin E succinate was not killing the cancer cells, because it was improving the outcome, it wasn't doing it by way of killing it. It wasn't killing the cancer cell itself, but the cancer cells were dying. It was improving. It wasn't using the same angle that chemotherapy and radiation uses. See, chemotherapy and radiation are free radicals in themselves. They're very, very toxic. And that's what causes all the damage to the other cells in the body. So his confusion was, if it's not killing by way of free radicals, then what is the mechanism of action? How's it doing? So that's why he's pursuing this line of thinking right now. And remember, all of this was precipitated by his observations and his relationship with Linus Pauling. And that picture right there, Jeff put up on the screen, that was him with his children and his wife, with Dr. Linus Pauling at the time. So just want to try to clarify that a little bit.
Hey, my son and Judy, yes, for survival and growth. So I looked in literature. I found out, sure, cancer cell requires excessive amount of glucose because they have inefficient system of producing. That's the picture of Linus Pauling with Che, my son, and Judy.
Yes. That's history.
Yeah, but so in any case, so it was. So I found out that the cell requires glucose and glutamine. Without that, they will die of starvation. No energy and no vital molecules. Glutamine is very important to make vital molecules for your survival, like RNA, DNA, and many other things. Very important. And so then I said, maybe it is possible that high dose antioxidant have nothing to do with free radical scavenging or destruction of free radical. It blocks the uptake of glucose and glutamine, and so cell starvation and lack of energy. And so then I said, when I started doing research on this issue, I found out, sure enough, high dose antioxidants blocks the uptake of glucose and metabolism of in a cancer cell, but not in normal cell. Normal cells don't get affected. And so
that is mind-boggling. Just to contemplate what this man just said. He probed around to try to figure out why the cancer cells was dying, and those two things that cancer cells need, glutamate and glucose. He figured out that these high antioxidants that we were just talking about simply blocks the way that cancer eats. It's like you sitting down and trying to eat. You got a beautiful plate of food in front of you. You're sitting at a buffet, but someone has shoved a baseball and 2 socks in your mouth. No matter how much food is in front of you, you simply can't eat. That's what he's saying happened, that he figured out happens to cancer cells. They just can't eat when they're subjected to large amounts of antioxidants.
So then I said, well, okay, I got it now. So then I started doing it,
Yeah,
and
you
then
got it all right.
patent and so on and so forth. So right now, so what we are doing right now for the time being, until I find my investor for my formulation, that we have micro-daily hydro, for example, and we suggest that if you increase 3 times a preventive dose, means suppose if you are taking hydro 3 in the morning, 3 in the evening, that would be considered a high doses of antioxidant, because a preventive dose has about 1,500 milligram of a vitamin C, and if you multiply by it, it will be close to 5 grams.
Yes.
And the minimum amount that we think, it can go forward depending upon what kind of cancer it is. And so, but in the beginning, I think
So keep in mind that he's talking about 3 packages of EMF hydro, not 3 capsules of EMF. If you're taking the capsules of EMF, that would be at least 9 capsules of EMF in the morning and 9 capsules in the evening. So his statement was about 3 packages of microdaily EMF hydro. That's high dose of antioxidant. He just did the calculation there. That's approximately at least 5 grams of vitamin C, not to mention all the other antioxidants that are in microdaily. In addition to the fact that that's elevated levels of N-acetylcysteine, he doesn't talk about it here, but elevated levels of N-acetylcysteine that also raises glutathione levels. We'll talk about negative feedback inhibition a little bit later.
3 is good enough to the minimum amount that we think, it can go forward depending upon what kind of cancer it is. And so, but in the beginning, I think a 3 is good enough to start it, but it can go 4 times too.
Well, and we actually have some information or some examples that substantiate what you're saying, Dr. Prasad.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of folks here right now that are on this program that are hearing what you said for the first time, that this high antioxidant thing stuffing or plugging the mouth of the cancer cells is incredible. That's incredibly important. But do you mind if we share maybe 2 testimonials that
Sure.
actually support that? And then we're going to want to hear about your formula, your recommendation as to why it is that microdaily and the core 4, are beneficial approaches to this as well. So
yes.
I think that would be very good. So Beth has I just need to warn everybody, we're going to be showing an actual image of a human face here that's been infected by cancer. So if anyone is uncomfortable with that, now would be the time for you to maybe step away from your screen if you don't want to see this case. So just to let you know. But again, remember folks, testimonials are purely anecdotal. What happens to one person may or may not happen to you. Beth, are you with us now? Let's see. We have to can somebody give Beth the ability to...
Going to get treatment about around August 2nd. His wife came to me. She had just learned about this product,
August 2nd, this year, 2023.
Yeah, so there was no time for them to get shipments. So she came and picked up product at the house, and he was going to get treatment. He was going to get 33 rounds of radiation. It was under his eye. So I told them to take the 12 capsules twice a day, along with the omega-3 probiotic, and to do digestive enzymes before his meals, and do a couple packs of hydro during the day. And he faithfully did this. He did it every single day. He had his last treatment September 26th, around there. And we physically saw him when we had our Super Saturday in Charlotte. And the pictures that you have, I took a picture close up of his face. You can't even see the scar. So that was within 90 days of 33 rounds of radiation, plus doing the protocol that was given to him that I told him and his wife to do. But the biggest thing that he did, he listened, he did it, and he got the results. And I guess you're getting ready to show it. Yeah.
Was he taking the protocol during treatment as well?
He started it right when he started treatment.
First treatment.
That's when they got it. So
Yeah.
he wasn't doing it way ahead of time. He just learned of the product.
Sure.
They started maybe 2 days before he started treatment. He had 33 rounds of radiation
That's amazing.
within what is it, about 8 weeks maybe? I don't know, something like that.
Yeah.
And the thing about it is he had no downtime. He was not sick at all, and his energy never left him.
See, that's what the experimental data I was talking to you, at least in one example here, is confirmed. That if you take during the time, you get a maximum benefit of both. You have cancer, you don't have side effects. You can see that he has still all the hair, that he has a beard and everything else, never lost one. And as you mentioned, Jonathan, that during treatment, almost everybody loses hair. Temporarily, but it loses hair. But in this case, you can see that high dose of antioxidant not only enhances the effect of radiation, but also protect the normal tissue. And in this case, he's also trying to heal it faster once they get damaged.
And to give him a shout out, because he is a Marine, he's in the military, and he's also gone through a blood disorder for many, many years. So this is just amazing. And he is 72 years old. So he kind of had all the odds against him, but, he believes in the Lord. And then also, he has this. So, hey, what can we say? Thank you, Dr. Prasad. From them to us, we really appreciate your work and your lifetime commitment to helping so many people out here.
That's great. And
My
see
goodness.
What
This doesn't
generally
surprise you.
See, this is very important, that even though he has started rather the same day or, that he was getting radiation therapy, what in my patent we have said that you start 7 days before you get the radiation and chemotherapy. So by the time it comes, most of the cancer cell is already dead. Many cancer cells, because cancer cell would be selectively getting killed. Now, when you come to radiation therapy, then some more will be killed, while your normal cell is being protected, and then continue at least a month after the therapy, so that there is no residual things going on, and then gradually reduce to a preventive dose.
So I have a question. I
Sure.
don't mean to take over the show, but
No, go ahead,
so
please,
what if somebody is, say they've already done their rounds of radiation, they've already done their rounds of chemotherapy, and they were to start on this, like myself, I was poisoned by radiation, but I didn't get your product till over a decade after it.
Yeah.
So it's still going to restore the damaged tissues
Yes.
that's been caused by poison, correct?
Yeah. So no, but in that scenario, suppose if somebody has a cancer-free, survive 5-year survival, and then they have risk of a late effect. And that time, I would say, taking it twice a day would be sufficient to prevent the potential late effect of the radiation or chemotherapy or whatever cancer treatment you had.
And then also too, that people have to understand, you can't come off that high protocol like that and go down to just a minimum overnight. You got to
No, you can't. That's what I'm saying.
down.
Very gradually, at least,
Yeah.
like reduce one capsule per week or per 2 weeks, then, gradually within a month, you gradually goes down to when you do. If you do suddenly, that your body is used to high dose, and if you suddenly stop it, then you feel, body feels that you are deficient. The body is deficient of micronutrient, and then you don't feel comfortable. So it is very important, Beth, you mentioned that it is important to, once you try to do it after, say, month or 2 months, and that make sure that it is cancer-free, and then you gradually remove, very gradually.
So right now he's about at 10 twice a day.
Yeah.
And he's going down slow. But
Yeah.
I mean, it's just amazing. And this is not a miracle, y'all. This is science. This is chemistry that the body needed. All it is supporting the body so the body can do what it needs to do through the treatments.
Exactly. That's exactly the case. And while the chemotherapy and doing their job, but the potential side effect, normal cell is protected, but cancer cell is dying by different mechanism, has nothing to do with free radicals. Because chemotherapy and radiation, most of their effects is mediated by free radicals. They produce a lot of free radicals. And so and that's why it damages both chemotherapy and radiation damages both cancer cell and normal cell, because free radical cannot distinguish it. But in high dose antioxidant has nothing to do with free radicals. They bypass it. And so then because it blocks the glucose and glutamine, and therefore they die of starvation. And so this is very important to remember that this is the difference. So even though sometimes tumor become resistant to all therapy. Why? Because tumor cells later on expresses very high level of what is called NERV2. And NERV2, as you know, activation is very important to produce antioxidant enzymes. And when they produce antioxidant enzyme, one of the enzymes is glutathione peroxidase, which makes glutathione up. And if glutathione up, they become resistant to chemotherapy and radiation because they produce most of their damage by free radicals. But in case of high dose antioxidant, it has nothing to do with free radical. They kill tumor cell by different mechanism. So for high dose antioxidant, makes no difference whether it's a tumor sensitive or tumor resistant. They will still die because they will need glucose. They will need glutamine.
That statement right there was powerful. I don't think I fully heard that on that day on Sunday. Dr. Prasad just described another component that takes place inside the cancer cells that's directly connected to that glutamate. It's not just glutamate, it's glutamate, cysteine, and glycine. So there's 3 amino acids that combine together that cause glutathione to just run through the roof. It just so happens that cancer cells love this glutamine. And that's what Dr. Prasad is saying. They can't eat that. They also love cysteine. Cysteine is a protein that comes from raw milk. But whatever the case, when cancer cells start making glutathione, they become very resistant to chemotherapy, very resistant to radiation, very, very strong. They make glutathione and they don't stop making glutathione. So they're very, very strong. Unlike the rest of our cells self-regulate the production of glutathione, the master antioxidant, but cancer cells makes it out of control. Dr. Prasad's suggestions basically is stopping the uptake of glucose and stopping that glutathione process in the cancer cells, making them much more susceptible to being affected by conventional treatment, chemotherapy or radiation. Wow, that's incredible, Dr. Prasad. So, I mean, what you're saying here that is clearly you're not surprised at all.
No.
See this kind of
This is what I predicted. This is what I predicted, but sometimes prediction is not always right.
Wow.
Nice to see that it is true not only in the animal model or cell culture model, but is also true in a human model. And at least in my two experience, anecdotal story is from Denver. One was the patient of fourth stage pancreatic cancer, and even fourth stage, very advanced. Doctor said that Dr. Shafroth, you have 3 months to go. So out of desperation, he sent somebody to my lab, and I talked to him. And at that time, I had no product. So I had suggested him individually high-dose antioxidant. And they followed, I guess. When you're desperate, he followed it. And he was a lawyer. With a law practice, he lived great quality of life for 3 years, attended marriage ceremony. And when he died, he told his wife that any flower or nobody sent to, and whatever money they spent in my funeral, they should donate to Dr. Prasad Laboratory. And at that time, I got about, I don't know, $25,000 or $30,000. And I established a Shafroth Memorial Fund at the university. And his wife continued to support every year $5,000, $10,000 for my research. And so that's one. Second was she has a breast cancer, and she was editor-in-chief of Boulder Camera. This was a local newspaper. And again, at that time, I did not develop any formulation. But I was knowledgeable that high-dose antioxidant is working in experiment. So I again suggested him, and she got tumor-free. And when I actually developed some kind of formulation, as you know, Scientific Nutrition was my first company, ran from the garage. And she wrote a whole big articles and put my name all over the country. So overnight, we developed a couple of thousand customers. Not overnight, but in a couple of weeks.
Well, that's incredible.
So those are my experience of anecdotal story. But at that time, I never thought a great deal about it.
I know. Well, we're glad that you started that way. We have one more that we want to share.
Sure.
Especially because we have 270 connections on this media now that probably have never heard someone else also had a very similar outcome. It was not just with either radiation and something surfaced, but this woman, Iris, was being slammed with all kinds of chemotherapy and radiation. So we'd like to hear your comments on that one too. So Jeff, do you have that one? I think I've got it, but if you've got it, I think it will be
I do, Jonathan.
All right,
and
great.
in fact, let me just pull myself up here. In fact, if I can, I'd like to share too, because Iris, we just met with her when we were in Albany, Georgia, about 3 weeks ago. Amazing journey, but this is just right after her experience, this first one. And then I have one more that I would like to share, that somebody that they were so compromised that they couldn't continue the protocol. Their body would not handle the chemotherapy. And so, let me just share Iris here first, and then we'll go to Susie. So here we go with
Excellent.
Iris.
Most of you know that I did have cancer. I think it was 2018. And I met I've been knowing Miss Dolores for a long time. But then, she had introduced me to the microdaily. So with God in prayer and Miss Beth, I decided that I will go ahead on and take the microdailies. And I did it before I had surgery. So I needed to get it in my system. So once I got it into my system, when I had my surgery, I did not have any pain. I did good. Then after that, I did 8 rounds of chemo. And chemo it's poison. It's a lot of poison that's going inside. Okay, didn't get sick one day because I was constantly taking my microdaily, constantly. Then I did 33 rounds of radiation. Didn't get sick, didn't hurt. So now I'm on this thing called tamoxifen. It's the pills after cancer, and one of the side effects is the bones. I should be aching all over. But because, God has prepared me along with Ms. Beth to be great, of course, he allowed me to not have any pain whatsoever. And I go around, I talk to my clients about, you know, a lot of them have blood pressure problems, all of these different problems. I'm like, you know what? I had cancer, and this micro daily, it attacked that cancer. And I tell you, I'm just grateful. And that's my testimony.
Thank you.
Wow.
That's exactly.
Jonathan, I just like how confident she is in her experience. And, you know, 4 years later, we just met with her again in Albany and to talk about awesomeness. So this next one, just really quickly, I'm going to share Susie with you. And Priscilla's actually on this call. We reached out to her and said, this is going to be happening. And so Priscilla, who Susie is so appreciative for, is here. And I want people to understand that this gave Susie hope. And she explains that. So here we go.
Hi there. My name is Susie Reynolds, and I want to share with all of you my condition that I was diagnosed with. I had cancer, and I was diagnosed in October of 2020 with cancer. I had a stage 4 gynecological cancer. I had a spot on my liver, a spot on my spleen, and a spot where my gallbladder used to be. So I decided to try the chemotherapy, and I had 4 appointments and only 2 sessions of the chemo because my labs are so low that they wouldn't do the chemotherapy. So something told me, and this was like November I was diagnosed, and then December and January, and in February there was something that spoke to me about I needed to come see Priscilla, and I had met her in 2019, and there was just this gravitational pull to her office. And so February 5th, I came to see her of 2021, and Priscilla is guided by God. We prayed together on February 5th. We prayed, and she put me on Micro Daily, which I'm continuing to take. I love it. And I want to thank Dr. Prasad for his supplements that he's made. I think it's wonderful. And thank Priscilla for having these nutritional things that I'm using. So I'm using the Micro Daily Original. I'm using the Brain Boost, and I'm also taking the Eye Boost. I've changed my diet and all of that. And I can't tell you, and I've quit drinking alcohol, and I can't tell you how wonderful I feel through all of this. And in 1 month, my oncologist had told me that my numbers were 900 plus. And in 1 month, after seeing Priscilla and continuing to work with her, in 1 month, I'm down to 135. Now, I'm not out of the woods yet, but people that have no cancer have numbers of 35. And that's where I know I'm going to be. In 1 month, only 1 month, with all this therapy, the Micro Daily, all the nutritional supplements that she has me taking, in 1 month, I have gone down that much. And my cancer is nearly gone. I have hope and I have faith that I am going to be just fine. I get goose chills just thinking about it.
That's amazing.
Yes.
So tell us, Dr. Prasad, what do you think when you hear this?
I mean, that's, again, amazing story. I'm very, very happy to hear that. That what we initially observed in a cell culture model, you know, and that is still coming true.
Well, do us a favor. We have a few questions that folks want to ask.
Sure.
Tell us how it is that your products contribute to someone getting a better outcome when they're receiving chemotherapy and radiation. We're looking here, and this just looks like a bunch of antioxidants. Is this mimicking the patented formula that you submitted?
Yeah, there is a the dosage is higher than what we have here, because this is a preventive dose. What you are showing me is a preventive dose. But individual micronutrient is, for example, in my formulation, we did not need it for acetate because this is good for prevention, has nothing to do with cancer.
Right.
So in my formulation, we eliminated it. We have only succinate. So there are a few differences, but basic thing is same. And vitamin C, vitamin A, scopolamine, B vitamin, you give them just small amount just to make sure they are there. And so, but also in this case, we don't have it. I think we have it though, like alpha lipoic acid, conjunctin, beta carotene. We also had the new formulation, curcumin, and resveratrol, and quercetin, but not green tea extract.
Right.
So it is a different formula, but an important thing to remember it is a high dose.
It's high doses.
High dose can vary from 5 to 10 grams. And I don't remember how much I have given the exact doses, but it anywhere between 5 to 10 milligram would be adequate. Would be
Okay,
defined.
so clearly, Dr. Prasad, though, these are individuals. Every single one of these testimonials all came from therapeutic dosages of this formula. So
This
taking
formula, exactly.
triple the amounts.
Yes. Triple.
That's enormous.
Yeah, exactly. And so as long as it's a high dose, cell doesn't care from where it is coming. As they see, oh yeah, it is high dose antioxidant, blocks glucose uptake and glutamine uptake. And they said, okay, you can't make energy. You can't make any important molecule for survival. So they die. Had nothing to do with free radicals. And this formulation is to destroy free radicals, to reduce inflammation. But high dose antioxidant has nothing to do with this mechanism by which these things work at a preventive dose.
And we're talking about protecting your good cells.
Yes.
And really facilitating the chemotherapy, radiation to be able to attack the bad cells.
Yeah, bad cells, because their bad cells will be dying by free radicals, and so while protecting against, so you have high dose antioxidant, they will protect normal cell because they will protect against free radical damage that chemotherapy produces it, but for cancer, they care less because you are going to die by starvation, not by free radicals.
Right. I got you. That's beautiful. That's exciting for us to hear, Dr. Prasad. Now, you're recommending probiotic daily as well. And
because in any disease, in cancers, the intestinal dysbiosis occurs, means number of the harmful bacteria increases.
Right.
And when they increase it, they produce a lot of toxic chemicals, which can damage things, increase the rate of progression of the disease, and so on. So we recommend that these things, for at least for the adult, we recommend that take probiotics with prebiotics. That is very important to have it. And again, for example, one case somebody mentioned about pancreatic cancer the other day. If you have pancreatic cancer and some surgically something was removed, but then you have also a problem if your pancreas is involved, digestive enzyme, because one of the major sources of digestive enzyme is pancreas. And so then you have, for that kind of patient, you must have a digestive enzyme as well. You see, there are multiple focus of the items depending upon, and in general, if you have a cancer, it is possible that if you are feeling sick, and also that they stimulate the immune function. So your immune system is also protected while getting chemotherapy or radiation. So you won't have it suffering from any kind of toxicity.
And they mentioned that one of the side effects was constipation. So the probiotic is going to be helping with the constipation as well. So
as the probiotics as well as digestive enzyme, because if the food is not digested, you can have a constipation as well. Mm-hmm. So that's both really very important for cancer patients. Omega-3 is also important because sometimes suppose in case of somebody has also diabetes, for example, and become insulin resistant. Mm-hmm. First, as you know, omega-3 is a fatty acid. It is absolutely essential for your body. Your body do not make omega-3 fatty acid. You have to rely on diet. And fish is the richest source of omega-3 or supplement, because not everybody can eat everyday fish. So omega-3 supplement is the best way to get the omega-3 for yourself. So in cancer patient, because this is required for your good health, it doesn't have a directly cell-killing effect, but it maintains your overall health. And therefore, if normal tissue is protected by virtue of high-dose antioxidant, and then this is also protected. And because, omega-3 fatty acid, if you just have chemotherapy without any high-dose antioxidant, they will oxidize because free radicals are produced. Free radical will damage the function of omega-3. So whatever little omega-3 in your body is also get destroyed. But using the way we are suggesting it, then omega-3 is protected because you are reducing the free radical normal tissue damage. And therefore, but omega-3 would be for general health purpose. This is important to have it. And so you get maximum benefit.
Outstanding.
But don't take collagen. Collagen peptide is the only one I said don't take if you have a cancer.
Right.
And why? Because what collagen peptide does, because sometimes immune cell produces what is called cancer T cell killing, cancer cell killing cell that will kill cancer. Because for the immune cell, cancer becomes a foreign cells because it is different. So by the T cell, they try to kill as much as possible, but it is not sufficient. But whatever little effect it has, that the collagen peptide blocks the entry of the cell-killing lymphocytes to the environment of cancer. So cancer cell can't get the lymphocyte, so they can't get killed by immune system, and therefore they will continue to grow.
I see. So it reduces that chance. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That makes perfect sense. And thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
So what about the brain boost, Dr. Prasad?
Brain boost, like
chemo brain?
Yeah. One of the acute side effect is brain fog. And during that time, you start forgetting things. So in order to improve the brain function, you give a brain boost. We have given in brain boost curcumin, and as you know, brain is exposed to normally anyway very high oxidative stress, but especially during chemotherapy or radiation, they get more free radical exposure. And so brain boost has a curcumin and resveratrol, very powerful antioxidant and anti-inflammatory agents. It has also increased the level of coenzyme Q10 and vitamin B3. These two molecules are required by the mitochondria to generate energy. Even though we have in a micro daily EMF, but we added additional amount, and therefore to improve further, give us mitochondria some more break to generate sufficient amount of energy. And we also had two precursor of membrane. One is phosphatidylserine, another is phosphatidylcholine. These two compounds are precursor of membrane. And as you know, brain is very rich in membrane. Mm-hmm. And so and easily get damaged by free radicals. Yeah. And so once the damage, but the new membrane are formed. So by giving this new membrane will be formed, and you're also giving a protective agents, so they will be protected from further damage, future damage.
I hope you guys heard that. We're talking about something here that will help with chemo brain and that brain fog. So just keep that in mind, folks. That's a good one. Dr. Prasad, someone asked a question in the chat there about turmeric and curcumin. They said that their health practitioner told them that that's not good when it comes to treating cancers and things like that. Is there any harm? Is there any downside to turmeric?
No, not only downside, there's the upside, because curcumin and resveratrol has been shown to block glucose uptake and glutamine uptake in a cancer cell. So that guy is not knowledgeable.
Yeah, clearly not well informed. No, so I hope you all are hearing this, folks, that Dr. Prasad's patented formula It's right on the cusp. It's in the works. The very essence of what we're dealing with microdaily EMF is now being patented as a supplement with cancer treatment. So a person can be going through their cancer treatment and they can take Dr. Prasad's formulas and they can find themselves benefiting to a great degree and getting better results. We've shown you just 3 of many observational examples of individuals, anecdotal, of course, who have gotten very good results with Dr. Prasad's formula. So we're excited to be able to share that with you. And we do want to make an announcement that Engage Global has a special going on till the 15th of this month.
Impression, I think CBD is extremely valuable. Why? Because, for example, CBD can enhance the serotonin is one molecule in the brain that keeps you quiet very much. And actually, so that's one thing is that there is an anti-anxiety drug which works as an inhibitor of serotonin reuptake. It is a prescription drug, but it does the job because it increases the serotonin level, prevents the serotonin from degradation. But CBD has also act as an inhibitor of serotonin reuptake. But CBD has a disadvantage that it also increases the synthesis, not only prevents the degradation of a serotonin, but also increase the synthesis of this one.
Wow.
And another thing CBD does is that also increases the dopamine level, and dopamine level makes you happy. And so by increasing these kind of things, your anxiety and depression get dramatically reduced, and it is very powerful, in all kind of neurological issues.
Wow, that's incredible. Does it have any effect on inhibiting or blocking cortisol in any way, the stress hormone?
A stress hormone, not directly, but a stress hormone will cause anxiety, depressions.
Okay.
And so by doing this, you will reduce the effectiveness of cortisol because you are increasing serotonin level as well as dopamine level.
Wow. Okay. Well, there you have it, folks. There you have it. So get back with the person who invited you to this discussion, and they will help you to put together the bundle that's best for you. You're going to want to go with the basic bundle, and you're going to want to add the omega and the digestive enzyme to it, and the CBD bundle that you just saw. All right. So you want the basic bundle, you want the omega-3, and you want the digestive enzyme, and you want the CBD. Those are the items that Dr. Prasad just discussed with us. So, okay, I'm going to pause right there, and we're going to open up for some discussion. If some have some questions, and Song has a story a testimonial that we want to share right now as well. So if you do have questions, go ahead and you can start raising your digital hands, and we'll take as many of them as we need to. All right. So I'm not going to go anywhere. What we just heard is just absolutely amazing, and it's just mind-boggling is all I can say. So that's what I got to say about that right now. We're in a position right now where life can change for a lot of people. And all we have to do is be willing to go ahead and just open up our mouths and get the word out so people can get to know about it. But please, Song, go ahead and let's.
Hey, Jonathan, before you
hang on
go,
one second, Song. I'm going to get you on the screen.
Okay.
And,
Stand by for a minute.
okay,
Before you go there is a lot of people that are thanking me for the rebroadcast. It wasn't me, by the way. It was Jonathan and I had talked it over, and Corleen Chavis, she was a big part of it. There's a lot of people on here that were leaders getting this word out. Next week, there is going to be the Cancer Part 2, if you have to leave right now. Cancer Part 2, improving the outcome, will be here next week. It's another holiday weekend. I just want to congratulate 67 people on a holiday eve is unheard of in this program. So obviously you do agree with me that cancer doesn't take a day off. And we all need to hear this information. So therefore, those of you that took your time out this evening to come in, we're going to spend additional few minutes to answer some pertinent questions and try to keep it toward this subject of cancer improving the outcome. So let's try and keep it in that. And of course, we have some people on here that are really good, that have experiences. If you could keep it brief, because we have a very little time. And this evening, I am looking forward, Jonathan, to hearing what's on the table. So back to you. Yeah,
we can
Jonathan.
we can go ahead and take a couple questions now.
Okay.
Start.
Raise your hands. Raise your hands. If you have any questions that something you may have not understood. You know what? I tell you, I understood it this time. I don't know about you. I understood it a little bit better, actually, this time. I did not understand. In fact, I was writing down things that basically I did not know that within the week, and it was said that you could start chemotherapy. You'd be due for chemotherapy tomorrow, and you can get on Micro Daily today and actually get some pertinent, get some incredible improvements in your while you're going through this treatment. Jonathan, just one question. I'll start it out. When people are taking the Micro Daily for before they go through these treatments, how pertinent is it that they also use the probiotic, and does it make a difference in the efficacy of the Micro Daily as they're taking the Micro Daily for the cancer treatment?
Yeah, very important. My camera seems to be having some trouble right now. Not sure what's
That's
going
right,
on.
we can hear you. We
But
can hear you.
Dr. Prasad mentioned that the gut dysbiosis is very important. See, because here's what's happening. And I hope everybody really was kind of listening in. And I'm glad that you just said that you picked up more. I know for me, I had to listen to it several times to really start to get exactly what was being said. But Dr. Prasad emphasized over and over and over again to what degree chemo and radiation act as a free radical. The fact that they act as a free radical, that's what causes all of the discomfort, all the pain, all the side effects that you experience when you're being treated for chemo, for cancer of any kind, no matter what kind of cancer it is, because the chemo and the radiation is behaving like a free radical. The fact that it behaves as a free radical makes the gut very uncomfortable. It's destroying everything. It's destroying all kinds of things. So if you take the probiotic along with it, you're restoring and maintaining your gut biome, which is very important. Not only is that happening, cancer cells, he didn't say this, but Dr. Nkosi has explained this to me a number of times, and another gentleman who's another doctor, scientist, brilliant man. Cancer cells are very toxic. Dead cancer cells are very toxic as well. So the liver now has to deal with processing dead cancer cells. So that's another thing that may cause some of the nausea and discomfort. So if you're taking digestive enzymes and probiotic along with your cancer treatment, along with Microdaily, you have a better chance of your system feeling better while you're going through the process.
You know, Jonathan, you just said something huge. I never thought about this. Now, I already knew what the probiotic basically does. It prepares the gut to be able to receive the full effects of whatever micronutrients that you're taking. Is that correct?
That's correct.
So you're telling me that once those cancer cells are dead, that they can be just as toxic if they're not expelled from the body. And our newest product, which is Digestive Boost, will help that expelling of these dead cancer cells. It'll help it to take place. I think everybody on here probably, I don't know, I'll admit, I didn't know that. Is that what you're telling me?
Not exactly. I'm saying that the digestive enzymes and the probiotic is important for your being able to process the food. You're going to feel nausea. You're going to feel sick. The last thing you're going to want to do is eat because your body's dealing with toxic, dead, and dying cancer cells. Omega-3 will help the liver. So all that is very good support for the liver in processing the dead cancer cells. So that's happening. But your microbiome needs to be healthy if you're going to stay nourished while you're dealing with chemotherapy and cancer treatment.
So that's part of what Dr. Prasad really, he seems to lean on this right combination, right quantity, right formulation.
Yes.
Because sometimes people think that they can go out and buy products. And by the way, today I was looking at some of the ingredients that Dr. Prasad have in his products. And it was, let's see, there was someone said, could you correct the second sentence? This is powerful information. Okay, I'm not sure what that one is, but whoever it is, they can raise their hand and they get that clarification. But I was looking at the ingredients. A lot of times people think you can go out and buy these products or buy these different ingredients, put them together, and then you have the same thing as Dr. Prasad. But I started looking at what he meant by the right combination, the right quantity, the right formulation. As a scientist, seemed like he has come up with a perfect combination of the ingredients that will actually cause it to work together to actually cause this system to be effective. So maybe you could tell us a little bit why people would not include other ingredients that people are out here advocating would help you with things, maybe a little bit. Well, this will help a little bit more to enhance it. Why is it that Dr. Prasad's products are basically formulated to work in itself to its greatest effectiveness without adding outside products? That's what I like.
Dr. Prasad, you're talking about decades of research on that Dr. Prasad has done, decades. And there's at least $25 million that was spent in the research and development. Now, the government was very specific in what they requested. They weren't just looking for a vitamin. They were looking for something that was not normal. Because if they just wanted something that was just a basic multivitamin, that already existed. They could have just brought prenatal vitamins and give to the soldiers on the battlefield. They wanted something much more effective. In fact, the mandate was they wanted to have the soldiers in optimal health, not just feeling better, optimal health. And no vitamin company stepped up to do that. There's no money in that, but Dr. Prasad did. So what he produced millions of dollars later, is not just a normal vitamin that you can go pick up off the shelf over the counter someplace. When you turn around and start adding additional vitamins to this process, to his formula, you literally could throw the entire formula off and render it less effective. Now, I can tell you, I've seen some really good nutritional supplements out there, some really, really good ones. Most of them become less effective when exposed to chemotherapy and radiation and things like that. Amazingly, Dr. Prasad's formula not only is just as effective, whether there's chemo or radiation involved or not, it seemed to make the pharmaceutical drugs work better. So his formula and the source, everything he has is natural. It's not synthetic stuff. It's all from natural sources. And I think that's what makes a difference. Now, we don't care, and Dr. Prasad has said it, if it's something herbal that they really feel like they want to take with it, fine. We're not going to tell you to stop taking it, because if some people really swear that certain things have saved their life, I don't want to take the pacifier away from them. But vitamins, don't take any additional vitamins and things right along with Micro Daily. That's not wise at all. If you just insist on taking some other things that you have fallen in love with over the years, just keep it 2 or 3 hours away from Micro Daily. Do it, some other time so that there's definitely no interaction between the two. But you're better off focusing your attention on Dr. Prasad's formula. It works.
Now, Jonathan just gave everyone on here a teaching point when it comes to advocating Dr. Prasad's products. A lot of times when we introduce our products to people, they sometimes want to save a few dollars by going out getting some other product that has the same name, but actually does not have the same effectiveness as our particular products. So what you want to do is you want to make sure that as you introduce this system to people, that you want to highlight, do not mix and match products when it comes. That's like putting on two different tennis shoes and say, you know, I love this tennis shoe, but this one right here look good with it. Well, actually, people are going to look at you a little strange, and you're not going to really look as good as you think you do. You may start a new trend, but that's it. But the point is that you don't want to mix and match, because another thing Jonathan said, and Jonathan, we want to highlight that because everybody on here, obviously, a lot of people have had a lot of good experiences. You want to make sure that Dr. Kedar Prasad's system is helping them. You can't do it when you mix and match things that were not work with Dr. Prasad when it came to formulation of his product. And he had mentioned something else, Jonathan, that we want you to elaborate on. He had mentioned when it came to vitamin E succinate. I thought that was interesting. That at first there was no effect. And then he went out and got 4 different vitamin E's. And then all of a sudden he found that I think they were back in that 1981. He found that vitamin E succinate has some type of effect on cancer cells. Could you tell everybody on here what happened on that?
Yeah, it was mind-boggling. Mind-boggling that he wanted to just try to prove what Linus Pauling had theorized. And everybody was laughing at him, and he said they thought Linus Pauling was senile. He said, but the man can't be senile. He's won the Nobel Peace Prize twice. He said, so he decided to start following up on his line of reasoning. So he tested vitamin E acetate, which was the most common form of vitamin E that everybody uses. And it had no effect. Vitamin E acetate had no effect on cancer cells, because he was doing some cancer research at the time anyway. Had no effect on cancer cells. Didn't kill them, didn't do a thing to them. He told his wife to go see how many other types of vitamin E there are out there. And she found them all, came back, and it turns out vitamin E succinate was pay dirt. Not only did it kill the cancer cells, it was different. It was very unique, number one, very safe, had no effect whatsoever on healthy cells, but the cancer cells were dying. So he's the first one to discover that. Since then, other scientists have confirmed that vitamin E succinate is cytotoxic to cancer cells. That led him to say, okay, but how? Why is it killing cancer cells? Because it's not a free radical. That was the whole point. That was the thing that was, for us, we wouldn't even reason that way. I'd just be happy to say, okay, this stuff does what it does. But he says, no, well, how's it doing what it does? Because chemotherapy and radiation kill cancer cells by being a free radical, destroying, ripping the electron from the at the cellular level, causing the cancer cell to get weaker. Why is this vitamin E succinate causing cancer cells to die? That's when he figured out that it was blocking the uptake of glucose and blocking the uptake of glutamine. 2 very important components necessary to keep cancer cells strong is they have to eat. It blocked the feeding. So that went on to cause him to confirm Linus Pauling's theories were correct, that high doses of antioxidant cause cancer cells to die. But it doesn't kill the cancer cell, but it stopped them from being able to eat properly. And if the cancer cells can't feed themselves properly, they die.
They die. That Jonathan, you brought up another little point that I think everybody on here, and we're about to bring this to an end, by the way, but there's so many great questions that people are kind of asking on here. But glutathione is something that the body doesn't naturally produce by itself. Is that correct?
Glutathione is the body's master antioxidant. It is the master antioxidants produced by all mammals. Now, because you can buy glutathione, people think that the body does not make it. but every cell in the mammalian body manufactures glutathione. You have to have 3 amino acids for your cells to make glutathione. Cancer cells make insane amounts of glutathione. That's one of the reasons why they're so hard to kill also. And when Dr. Prasad found out that glutamine is also one of the amino acids that can't be absorbed or consumed by cancer cells, he effectively is removing 1/3 of the 3 amino acids that the cancer cells need to make glutathione. That's why they become weaker. He doesn't comment on this at all, but that glutamine is being blocked. You can't make glutathione without the three amino acids: glutamine, glycine, and cysteine. You have to have all 3 of them, and you block one, no glutathione.
Wow. Wow,
Cancer
John,
cell-
that's huge.
Cancer cell becomes weaker, chemotherapy can slam it.
So when you take micro daily, is that a source of making sure that that body is producing a proper amount of glutathione?
Very good question, because what Dr. Prasad brilliantly did was added in N-acetylcysteine, which is one of the major precursors for glutathione. Now, glutamine and glycine, those are very common. It's very commonly found in food. Yeah, I don't care. I think you can get some in potato chips. I mean, it's in everything. So that you don't have to go out of your way to find glutamine and glycine. But cysteine, that's the rate limiter. That's the hardest one to find. It's all but been stripped from our diet. You used to be able to get it in raw milk. If you eat a lot of raw eggs, you get it there. If you ate about a wheelbarrow of broccoli and the cruciferous vegetables, you get a bunch of it, cysteine there. Most people do not get enough cysteine. Most people are low and deficient in glutathione precursors. Most people are. By the way, watermelon is very high in glutathione precursors. Avocado is high. Asparagus. There's a lot of things that are real good with glutathione precursors. But N-acetylcysteine is a natural, powerful glutathione precursor. Dr. Prasad added that to microdaily. So now he put a huge amount of antioxidants in there. So when you take therapeutic dosages of microdaily, now you're getting the high doses of antioxidants that blocks the uptake of glucose and uptake of glutamine, but also causes elevated levels of glutathione all around the rest of the body, and also adds enough protection from free radicals, no matter where those free radicals are coming from. And that could be side effects of medication or any medication or whatever, it's blocking it. So your healthy cells get healthier and the bad cells not so healthy.
Wow. Well, Jonathan, we are about 16 hours over the hour. 16 minutes over the hour. And this information, by the way, do everyone agree that this information today was powerful, even though it was a rebroadcast? Just kind of wave your hand if you believe that this right here was very beneficial, so Jonathan will know. Excellent. Next week, Jonathan, I'm gonna go ahead because I want to respect people's time for the evening. Maybe on the ending question, Dementia had an ending question, and then perhaps you can give us a little preview of what they're going to cover next week, and then we'll bring this to a close.
Absolutely. I'll tell you what, you said there's another question someone had?
Well, Dementia had one, but I see her hand went down. Okay, I guess she got her question answered. So go ahead, Jonathan.
Okay. So next week we're going to go to part two. Part two of this discussion on improving the outcome. Dr. Prasad did a phenomenal job with it, because it went into, it's one thing to have cancer and to have to try to find a way to get it out of your system. And everyone is excited to have a chance at doing that. And this is not a treatment or a cure for disease. And that needs to really be made clear over and over and over again, because by law, we can't say anything like that. But because this is just a nutritional supplement, and everything about what we're experiencing, what we're taking, is it's a nutritional supplement. The Benjamin Franklin was the one that said it, that an ounce of prevention is better than a pound of cure. So that's what we're going to be talking about next week. So part 2 covers how do you avoid getting cancer in the first place, the prevention part of it. And Dr. Prasad just did a phenomenal job of covering that, I think, extremely well, basically. So you can look forward to that. If you have people that you care about, you really want to get them here. You want them to be available. You want them to join next week's discussion because it's going to be worth their time.
Jonathan, I think I echo the sentiments of everyone here when we say the sacrifice you made this evening is tremendous. We've had over 60-something devices here. It shows that there are people here that are very serious about their health. We can't wait to hear part 2 next week. And we want to thank everyone from the bottom of our hearts for you coming here. And just remember, people will not always respond to your request for them to try our products the first time. But all you can do sometime, you could, if someone was drowning, I definitely got it, by the way. One of the greatest leaders with the company has her hand up, and I'm definitely not going to leave her out there. But I just want to say this, and I'm going to end mine with this, and then Corleen, and then Jonathan will end it. Is sometimes you may throw the life raft out, they throw it back. They throw the life raft out. My mother was a good example of that about 4 months ago. My mother was going to go through some chemotherapy treatment, and I begged her to take our products. And she was walking around talking to me just like we're talking now. And I said, Mom, please. She said, you can take your stuff and take it back to Atlanta. Those were the echoing words I still remember from my mother.
Ouch.
My mother started taking chemo, radiation treatments. Within 2 weeks, she was dead. So sometimes you cannot get people to try your products, but your responsibility is not to force it down their throat, but make sure that they at least have an opportunity to know that Dr. Kedar Prasad is scientifically real, and our products has been validated by the many experiences of people that say, thank you for giving me a fighting chance with things such as cancer, diabetes, and so on. Corleen, I'll pass it over to you, and Corleen, you can pass it over to Jonathan. Corleen, you have to unmute too, by the way.
Oh, hold on, hang on. She can't unmute.
Oh, okay.
Hold on.
Let me see. I got it. Ask to unmute.
Okay. I just wanted to take time out to acknowledge for all, especially for this cancer, because it seems to be a pandemic, and so it's everywhere. And so for you to take the time and do the research, and you and Dr. Prasad just continuing to share, I think all of us that are fortunate enough to be able to participate, we need to make sure that we share this information with everyone we know, because every day, not every once in a while, every day I talk to someone, I hear about someone else that has stage 4 cancer. And so I just want to thank you. I appreciate you so much. And Bernard, you're doing an excellent job. So have a great holiday. And again, thanks.
Thank you very much, Corleen. Yeah, thank you for your feedback. And that has been our desire. Our desire has been, my wife and I both, to pass on whatever information we can. I just don't think it's right, nor is it fair that we've remained in the dark. It's one thing to be, well, anyway, there's information that's out there, and we need to have it. So I encourage everybody to pass it on, share the videos, and if you're watching on YouTube, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. That helps YouTube realize that these videos have relevance, and share them with anybody that you care about. So thank you very much. And so we'll see you guys then on next Sunday. That Bernard is what the plan is, right?
God willing, we'll all be there.
All right. That's a beautiful thing.
Yes.
I have
All
no
right.
control over my mouth, so I can't do anything right now. I'm
Everybody can unmute. Jonathan, make it so everybody can unmute and say good night to each other.
I'm glad you think that I can pull that off right now.
I'm sorry.
All right.
You can.
Hey, thank you, Jonathan. Thank you, Bernard.
Thanks,
Thank you, Prasad.
There's
Thank you,
so
every
much.
one of you.
Bye, everyone.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Good night,
How you
everybody.
doing,
pre-recording
Maxine?
now.
Extra special for you and your family this holiday. God bless every one of you.
Thank
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Doctor.
Jonathan, can we get the pre-recording now? Is it on your YouTube?
It's on YouTube right now.
All right, thank you.
You're very welcome.